The wind carries with it a foul stench before you see anything. A reek of wet fur, rotting meat and smoke. The sound comes next, a guttural laughter that rises and breaks like hyenas echoing through the wilds, but warped, too knowing, too cruel. At the edge of your vision, shapes move, tall, hunched silhouettes with jutting shoulders and elongated limbs. As they step into view, you see their matted fur, yellow eyes glinting in the half-light, and muzzles with blood. Jagged weapons hang from their hands, scavenged steel, bone, even sharpened scrap lashed to crude handles. One drags a corpse behind it, half-eaten, careless, as if it were nothing more than a satchel. Another stops to sniff the air, its head snapping up toward you, nostrils flaring. The laughter swells now, as if the pack itself finds some private joke in your presence. They do not walk like men nor beasts, but something worse, hungry, eager, and without fear. These are Gnolls.
Welcome to another Monster Mastery episode of the It's a Mimic podcast, where you never know what you're going to get.
Hello, I'm Terry, and with me for every monster episode, except not this one, is usually Kyle, but is today Adam?
Hello!
And and also sitting with me is Dave for this episode called Gnolls, No Laughing Matter.
This episode covers everything about the 5.5 Gnolls and the changes from the 5th edition material to the 2025 Monster Manual.
How familiar were you guys with these creatures before you started prepping for this episode? How often have you seen them in a campaign?
I have been almost torn apart by Gnolls.
Me as well.
This is Adam.
Was it the same campaign?
Right? It was Gnolls.
Oh, yeah, you
Gnolls.
fought some Gnolls
We
in the
got trapped
sewers.
in the sewers. We got trapped.
You
That's
guys
right.
nearly died. That was almost a TPK.
Like, we were down to nothing. I think my suggestion was burning hands, and it was like a horde of them behind the door. I was like, that's literally all I got. We might get two of them.
We ended up having to split the party, and I ended up running a one-on-one session with Dan, because you guys got split up, and he wasn't going to be at the session, right? So he wandered off to go do something, and through sheer random tables, he came into a bead of meteor. And so he had, and we're talking like level 13 or something. This was super overpowered. And I'm like, oh, thank God, because the rest of them are fucked.
We were spent.
Yeah, you guys had no spell slots left. You were barricading a wall or a door deep in the sewers. And there were like 17, 18 Gnolls, something like that, on the other side of it, trying to break it down. It was wild.
Yeah.
So that was fun. What about you, Dave?
I think you've only used them against me. That's the only time I've seen them.
Really?
Yeah.
And that was fairly recent, wasn't it?
No, that was back when you were there, Terry. We were playing down at Justin's.
Oh.
No.
Oh.
Those
Yeah.
Did I have Gnolls with you?
Hold on.
In that campaign?
You weren't there when the Gnolls attacked and you guys put the mounts up in the trees?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was only a handful of weeks ago.
Yeah, but I go to the other thing first.
You go to the other one first?
Yeah.
All right. So you've run into them, but with me. I fucking love Gnolls. I will use Gnolls as often as possible, which is why I've leaned off of that for this campaign, because they're usually my go-to scary tier 2 horde, right?
Yeah.
So I fucking love Gnolls.
I love them. I don't use them often enough, and by that I mean I don't think I ever have, but I will. I'm trying to prep my next thing.
Have you finished the...
Oh, dude, I should have brought your Tiamat mini back tonight.
Oh, yeah,
yes, we did.
Yeah, you did?
Yeah.
Cool.
Got her Hand of Vecna, turned her bones to jelly.
Nice.
Yeah, they did well.
And how was it? That was the end of the Tyranny of Dragons.
Yeah, there was, man, we went on, they were fighting her, like, within her lair, and then they were getting sucked up to the material plane with her, so they're fighting her as that is happening. And the War of the... Spoiler alert for Tyranny of Dragons.
Sure.
The War of the Dragons was like occurring around them. They could see the metallic dragons fighting and the dwarves and the elves and all that stuff. And then as they got to the material plane, they beat her then and sent her back. It was fun, man. It was
epic.
insane.
Yeah, I love that.
It was insane. And I had to play it in a strange place. It was like my friend's like WeWork type place, you know? He rented out like one of the floors with like a boardroom and stuff. So I was like, where's all my shit? Like, where's all...
Did you have a whiteboard to use for it as well?
Yeah, I had a TV as well.
Yeah,
I was
cool.
like home, stuck it up there, so it was good. But it's just, you know, like when you're not in your own space, so you're like trying to adjust. Anyway, sorry, what were we talking about?
We're talking about Gnolls.
Gnolls. Let me give you the background on Gnolls. Let's get to know them a little bit better. So, What is the origin of the Gnolls? Gnolls are hyena-like humanoids birthed from the demonic influence of Yeenoghu. He's the demon lord of savagery. Legends say that where Yeenoghu rampaged and hyenas fed on corpses, the beasts bloated, then transformed into Gnolls. When you think of their nature, they are not a true race so much as they are the spawn of chaos and hunger. They don't farm, they don't build, they don't craft. They raid, they devour, and they desecrate. Their purpose, their only driving urge is to hunt, kill, and consume, spreading Yeenoghu's bloodlust. Even their shamans or pack lords are guided by visions of slaughter. When we think of culture surrounding Gnolls, well, what culture that does exist is crude. It is led by dominance and strength, scavenged trophies, crude markings of allegiance to Yeenoghu, and sadistic celebration of carnage. They are 7 feet tall, they're rangy, muscular, covered in mangy fur with hyena heads and glowing eyes of hunger. Their bodies often bear scars, crude armor, and just like scavenged gear. When it comes to their voice, they have their hyena-like cackles, their growls, they have guttural speech, which is kind of mixed in with howls, and their laughter is their thing that they're known for, and that would echo as a terrifying prelude to an attack. They probably also stink of blood, filth, corpses, think of chaos and destruction. They're not conquerors, they're destroyers. So wherever they pass, civilization collapses into ruin in that area. Think of corruption. Even mundane hyenas or humanoids can be corrupted into Gnolls by Yeenoghu's touch, symbolizing their savagery that spreads. And really, Gnolls are about fear and predation, really. Their raids should be terrifying, and they should be quick. The people, the NPCs and the PCs should not have time or much time to react to them, and they should be ferocious and passing through like a tornado. Thinking of their environments, well, badlands, wastelands, deserts would work. Of course, ruined villages, battlefields. Think of, in some areas, wide open sort of spaces like deserts and plains where they can truly take advantage of their pack. Occasionally they might fight in forests or near civilization that they can raid close to farms or caravans if they're passing through that area. When I think of treasure and gear, any weapons that they would be carrying would be rusted swords, crude spears, things that, bows that they've scavenged, jagged axes. So remember this thematically as you're giving these weapons to your players as loot. These are not beautiful, well-designed weapons. Armor would just be patchwork leather, stolen shields, scavenged chain, it would probably rarely be intact. They would have hunting trophies with them as well. This could be bones, scalps, trinkets for the victims. When it comes to treasure, it would just mostly be trinkets that are taken from their prey. There may be some valuable rings or jewelry in there, but anything else would be brutally damaged. Maybe occasional religious talisman if they found it interesting, but rarely any intact magical items. They wouldn't be attracted to these. When I think of allies or creatures that would associate with Gnolls, hyenas is the obvious one. Regularly, Gnolls would keep hyenas as pets. Cultists of Yeenoghu, demons as well. And then thinking about where you can make it appropriate, probably also slaves as well. Maybe not long term, but maybe people forced into labor temporarily until they die of exhaustion or the pack needs to eat.
It might not even be like forced into labor. It might just be like we're taking our lunch for tomorrow with us.
Yeah.
Right? Like run today,
right.
You can live one more night.
That's what I'm thinking. They wouldn't have the culture where where it would be used as forced labor, but certainly just they wouldn't need to kill everybody all at once, perhaps, until moving with people. Yeah. In their lair, it's just going to be piles of bones, corpses, gore, whatever kind of trinkets or loot that they might find on their person. But think because of the corpses and the decay, I like a good disease in D&D. This is a perfect opportunity to put a disease into your party. Anybody who touches anything on these creatures should be rolling Constitution saves. And that's it, guys. That's Gnolls.
That's it. So we're missing the big thing about the hunger with them. There was none of that in the new edition then? So that the way, for those of you that don't know, the way that it used to be, and we covered this when we did the 5th edition Gnolls, is Gnolls are consistently hungry. They are never satiated, right? Mm. The thing is that any time that they eat, they only get momentary relief before all of the meat and the flesh and stuff that's in their stomach gets magically transported to Yeenoghu's stomach, and that forces them to be hungry again. Yeah. And so they're consistently trying to hunt and kill and feed because Yunogu steals their food, right? And so, which is really dark. That's really dire, right? And so I'm surprised that didn't make it at all into it, right? I knew there's a couple like weird little changes, like apparently they're possessive about their belongings now. That was never anything before. That's in the Gnoll Warrior lore, right? But which I'm going to get into that stat in a second here. But the art has them being purple and green, with like not brown and mottled gray or any of that stuff. Yeah, you're right. It's cartoonish almost, and I think they're...
When the lime green stuff shows up, that's the bad guy.
Yeah, and I think they're leaning into the idea of, hey, these are demons, not humanoids. Now they are fiends, right? And they weren't in previous editions. They were humanoids. So, just interesting differences that we've seen there. But let me get into the stat blocks for the Gnoll Warrior. So Gnoll Warriors are pretty straightforward, and they fill the role of being your basic Gnoll stat block in the 2025 Monster Manual. Like all Gnolls, they're chaotic evil, medium-sized fiends. It doesn't ever say this in the lore or display it in current artwork, but these are actually hulking, medium-sized creatures. They're medium like Goliaths are medium, not like dwarves are medium. They're going to fill a regular doorway and have to duck through most arches. They're fucking huge. Not huge-sized, but, gigantic. So, considering that they are CR 1/2, Gnoll Warriors have a decent AC of 15 and hit points in the high 20s. That means that they're going to be able to survive for a couple of rounds at low level, and hordes of them at high level are going to be a problem. Unfortunately, they only move 30 feet per round. I wish they moved like 45 feet because that's way scarier. Like you said, Terry, like they need to be fast. They need to be on you before you can get away.
40 feet, they should be catching you every round.
Yeah, like I want them to be able to chase down their prey fairly easily. That just suits them. Strength is their best ability score with a +2 modifier, and intelligence and charisma are their dump stats, but they're still smart enough to use language, strategize with basic hunting tactics, and they're able to recognize and enjoy the suffering of others, so they're not dumb. They're just way smarter than a hill giant. So I mentioned that they're fiends, and that means that their 60 feet of dark vision fits the theme. Their initiative is average, their passive perception is middling at best, and they only speak the Gnoll language, which I'm sure sounds like high-pitched hyena chittering and cackling. All of these details, the dark vision of 60 feet, lowish initiative, unimpressive passive perception, and unimpressive PP, and speaking the Gnoll language are true of all Gnolls. But all of the others have better initiative and some of them speak more languages. It's just, this is your basic one, right? These are your grunts. This is your fodder. When it comes to their actions, they have 2 attack options, Rend and Bone Bow. Unfortunately, the basic Gnoll Warrior doesn't have multi-attack, and that feels weird to me, but CR 1/2, what are you going to do, right? When it comes to their attacks, the Gnoll Warrior is built a little counterintuitively. They have a +4 to Rend for 1d6 +2 piercing damage, and a +3 to attack with their Bone Bow for 1d10 +1 piercing damage. Gnolls are smart enough to know that their bows will do more damage, so it seems unlikely that they're ever going to get into close combat, which is what they should be doing, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't really fit the lore or style of Gnolls. Additionally, you'd think that an attack called Rend would do slashing damage. Piercing is an odd fucking choice for damage type here. And
what is Rend? What does it mean to rend?
To rip something open.
Right, okay.
Like you look at the claws in the artwork, right?
Yeah.
So it's just wrong for the viciousness and cruelty of Gnolls to have them like stab with their fingernails and not do anything, right? You could probably just change it to slashing and it would have almost no effect on your campaign because most players don't have resistance to piercing or slashing and whatnot. That doesn't come up so much except in monster stats.
No one's going to know.
No one's going to care, right? So, yeah, go nuts. The last thing about them, and probably their signature move, is their bonus action, Rampage. And it sucks under the new rule set. It used to be that whenever a Gnoll reduced a creature to 0 hit points in a melee attack, the Gnoll would then move up to half its speed and make a bite attack. That's right, we no longer have Gnolls that can bite, which again feels fucking strange with the lore. We also lose their spears, which pisses me off, but let me stay focused on the Rampage. When its prey hits 0 hit points, it uses a bonus action to rampage. That's what it was. Now, however, the Gnoll rampages after dealing damage to a creature that has already been bloodied. And then it gets to move and attack with Rend. So, have you guys figured out the problem with this yet?
No.
Okay. The issue is that it assumes that they're going to hit from a distance and run close to close the attack, right? But the range of the bone bow is 150 feet, and half their speed is literally 1/10 of that. So it's rarely going to trigger and be effective. So this must mean that it's meant for melee, except that they're doing 1d6 plus 2 in melee range. By level 4, the players have enough hit points that anyone with some experience won't be getting bloodied too often against gnolls, so it's rarely going to trigger. And even if they did, the movement portion of rampaging is a moot point. No gnoll is going to give up on the prey in front of them that is bloody and close to dying to find a different target, especially if it means taking an opportunity attack, which it would. In 5th edition, the rampage was based on getting a confirmed kill and running to their next target. In the new rule set, they're rewarded for doing damage after another attack already did a bunch of damage, and they're probably not going to use this ability very often, which is fine because now Gnoll Warriors only get to rampage once a day. Before, it was any time they dropped someone. Now, once per day. So, not once an encounter, which I'd be fine with, once every hour, once every 10 minutes, whatever. Like, I'd be fine with that, but that sucks. If you chase them down and they've already done it once, then that's it. So,
yeah, it really looks like the only thing these guys have going for them is the ability to take a bunch of hits.
yeah, at CR 1/2, they're going to be a little bit spongy like that. They've got the decent AC to be able to knock a lot of it back. But the other thing they have is that bow. It's just the range on it, right? So honestly, for me, I'm going to say fuck it, grab my 2014 Monster Manual and grab the Rampage out of that and then give them their bite back because fucking hyena demons.
They need a bite, they need a claw.
Yeah, right? And even if they don't end up using it in a multi-attack, I'm still going to do it and maybe do a little poison damage, right? Like 1d4 plus 1, or 1d4 piercing plus 1 poison just for the flavor of it because that was underwhelming.
The Rampage sucks, man, because that just... It takes away the momentum. The whole point is don't let them get started because they'll just overrun you. And now every round they're just on you.
Exactly.
And you just get overwhelmed and you can't get away. Now it's like, oh, well, they've got one good round. So, you know.
Or they're just... There's 8 of them and they're peppering you with arrows from a distance. And every time you get close, the smart thing to do is for them to move back and keep shooting, right? And that just doesn't feel like Gnolls.
It's like they forgot what they were. What they were supposed to be.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like when I was going through all the monster stat blocks way back when we did like the transition episodes, and we did the one on the Monster Manual on the Patreon, I stopped at Gnolls and went, "Holy shit! What happened to the Gnolls?" We got to do an episode. So anyway, that's the Gnoll Warrior.
All right. Well, I got the Pack Lord. Now these guys are essentially just like bigger, stronger Gnoll Warriors. They're going to kind of pick on the weaker ones and kind of force them into service.
Yeah.
That's kind of their role, right? They're the captains, the platoon leaders kind of thing, right?
Sure.
They're also Fiends, again, chaotic evil, right? AC is the same as the Warrior, 15, but they got a pile more hit points. They do 9d8 plus 9, so your average is like 50 or so, right?
Yeah, that's over twice as good.
Right, and then their initiative, plus 4. These guys want to fight, they want to get in there. And their speed is still 30 feet. That, again, feels a little weak. These guys should be closing the gap consistently.
And plus 4, I think, is where all of the Gnoll stats for initiative is. That's where they max out. Yeah. We never get anything more than that. So
no, it makes sense. These guys are kind of like the driving force behind the pack, right?
Yeah.
Their statistics they're a little bit better than the Gnoll Warrior. Their strength is a 16, Dex 14, Con 13. So like they're they got it. But I mean their initiative and their intelligence and their charisma are still gonna give you a negative modifier here.
Yeah, right? They're still dumpy.
Yeah. They dark vision 60 feet.
I don't think that changes.
PP is 10.
Yeah.
And they speak Gnoll, right? These guys are a CR2.
Mm.
Now, the big differences here as we get into their actions, they do get a multi-attack.
Good. Every Gnoll should have had a multi-attack.
Yeah.
They use either their Bone Whip or their Bone Javelin in any combination, right?
Oh, they get a Bone Javelin now. Okay, so that's new.
Yes, and they can incite Rampage as one of their things. So, if it's available. Now, the Bone Whip is just a melee attack. It does get 10-foot reach.
Oh, nice.
So that's kind of neat. And it does 2d4 plus 8. So like 2d4 plus 3 slashing.
Sure. I was going to say plus 8. Holy shit.
Sorry. I misspoke. The Bone Javelin, its range is 30 to 120. It's a plus 5 to hit, and it does a 1d8, which is a little weak. I mean, your archers are doing more damage with their bone bows.
Yeah, but the difference is with the javelin is like because they're going to rampage as well, right?
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
but that makes sense because they're close enough now. It's still ranged, but it's close enough to close that gap with the rampage.
I gotta say, I do appreciate the bone whip. These guys do feel like overseers.
Yeah,
and I think that really fits the theme, right?
I like a good whip, as Adam knows, and.
Excuse me, why does Adam know? Never mind, let's move on, yeah.
Terry's birthday is always an event.
And that's cool loot. You kill a Gnoll Pack Lord, you get a Bone Whip. I'd say keep the 2d4 for your Bone Whip.
Yeah, that's alright. The neat ability these guys have over the Gnoll Warrior, though, is the Insight Rampage. If the Pack Lord targets another creature it can see within 60 feet that still has the Rampage bonus action, then that target can take their reaction to make one melee attack.
Oh, and it doesn't use up their Rampage?
No, it doesn't use it. It's not using the Rampage, they just have to have it available.
Okay. But only one creature at a time?
Yes, it can see within 60 feet.
Okay.
Right? And then the other thing is they get a second Rampage per day here.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
So that's a little bit better. I still feel like why limit the rampages? Let them fucking.
These guys aren't going to be rampaging.
No,
they're not your front line getting in there. They're the ones yelling from the back, right?
Yeah. Okay. Maybe I agree with you in principle on almost every army, but I feel like a Gnoll Pack Lord is bigger and stronger because it mixes it up and it gets the spoils of war.
Yeah, a Gnoll Pack Lord is bigger and stronger because it keeps winning. And that's why it's in charge.
Yeah, like, I totally hear what you're saying, and I would absolutely play it that way some of the time, but when it's time to get their claws bloody, they're going to wade in.
When their guys are dead, they're going to be eagerly going, all right, let's get into this. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they send the masses out to tie up all of the minions as the Gnoll Pack Lord comes up from behind and goes, all right, I want that one. And then goes after the one that's cowering in the back and hiding and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So, kind of like the cave troll, right? Did not show up in the Mines of Moria right away, right? And then suddenly it was the problem going after the victims, right? So it wasn't so much fighting the heroes as it was going after the hobbits, right? That's kind of how I feel about the Gnoll Pack Lord.
Yeah, you're not wrong. These guys aren't going to get their hands dirty.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we've got two more that I'll run through quickly. First is the Gnoll Fang of Yeenoghu. So Gnolls possessed by demonic vestiges of the demon lord Yeenoghu. These are known as the Fangs of Yeenoghu. These are the Gnolls that would direct the chaos of the Gnoll Pack. So along the way, these fanatics receive these grisly omens from Yeenoghu, and they strive to interpret what they mean, and then they use these visions to direct the chaos of the Gnolls. So they're going off what one of the smarter ones says they have to go. So AC 15, just like the rest of them. Hit points are a little bit higher than the AC for the Gnoll Fang of Yeenoghu is 14. Hit points are a little bit higher than the Gnoll Pack Lord. I guess they're a little bit closer to Yeenoghu. They get a multi-attack. It's a bite, or it's a bone flail, which is 1d8 plus 3.
Well, flail is thematic. It's on brand because we don't get a stat block for them in this book.
Yeah.
But the Flind, the real leaders of the Gnoll armies, they carry really nasty flails. They were like CR 8 or 9 in the previous edition. So
wow.
Gnolls with flails make sense, right? And bite is happy.
No, I'm good with the flail. Yeah. The flail's fine. Rampage 2 a day, but that's it. Surely there's got to be some sort of leadership ability.
There's nothing else?
A rally or,
Oh, they speak Abyssal. That's a difference.
They speak Abyssal, but there's nothing. There's no way to use them on the battlefield. This guy shows up, you should be like, oh, fuck, now maybe they're going to get...
They used to be tougher.
Yeah.
What CR are they?
4.
Okay, so but they're 4 because they're hit points and they're multi-attack, I guess?
Yeah, but that doesn't feel like how this should be used.
That's
what they're encouraging, though.
I can't see the book because it's upside down for me. But no. But I'm just asking. The bite looks like it's got a paragraph. Is there extra shit in there?
You get poison damage.
Poison damage.
And the poison condition? Okay, so that's why they're CR4. Still, you're right. I want them to be some sort of magic something, right?
They should be scary in a different way.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, the 10-foot reach on the flail, though, like that 10-foot reach is a big deal.
10-foot reach is big, especially as you're And again, I want 40 feet of movement because you can run through a group of people with multi-tack going flail, flail, flail on your way through and not incurring opportunity attacks.
Just run through flailing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, next let's do the Gnoll Demoniac. The Gnoll Demoniacs are essentially berserkers that arise from gnolls who've ritualistically fed on the flesh of corrupted... Let me try that again. Gnoll Demoniacs are essentially berserkers that arise from gnolls who have ritualistically fed on flesh corrupted by the abyss. This just seems very specific.
So these guys ate demons.
Okay.
I don't know why we wouldn't say that.
Ritualistically, though, it feels like... How do you find out that happens if you do that? So now that they embodied the ruinous hunger of Yeenoghu, these gnolls will throw themselves into battle, heedless of the odds or of their own survival. They are rampaging demoniacs that would even devour other gnolls in their wild frenzies. Do these come later? Are these round 3?
Yes, I think so.
Just off thematically, that seems like when they should be coming. You've exhausted some things. AC's a little bit higher at 16. These guys have got beefy hit points. 135 for average. Still speed of 30 feet though. They get a multi-attack. They make 2 abyssal strikes. An abyssal strike is a melee attack, but also can be used as a ranged attack. And it essentially causes 20 points of damage on average, or 5d6 plus 3 poison damage. They also have an ability called the Hunger of Yeenoghu, recharges on a 5 or 6, where the gnoll conjures a 30-foot cube of magical darkness, and that will originate on a point that the gnoll can see within 60 feet. It lasts for 1 minute or until the gnoll's concentration ends. But this area is considered difficult terrain. After a dex saving throw of DC 14, any creature that starts its turn inside the area or enters for the first time receive necrotic damage on a failure, and the gnoll or creature of its choice it can see gains 10 temporary hit points.
Okay.
They have a rampage of 2 a day.
Okay. I like that. That's more flavorful. That's more fun.
Something. That's what I'm saying. It's something different. It's a new kind of threat. It shouldn't just be a bigger gnoll who also bites.
I'm looking over your shoulder here, and I also see that they speak abyssal, because of course, gnoll, because of course. But now they get common. These guys are going to taunt you.
Yeah.
Right. I think there's an extra level of cruelty with the demoniac. So.
Right.
So, I don't know. I like them a lot better. They're the first one that feels like a fucking gnoll.
Yes.
Right? The way that I have them in my head.
Right. Okay. That's it. That felt like a wealth of information and also not a lot at the same time. Let's roll initiative. We're going to go around a few times here. I got some questions for you guys.
Sure.
One yellow. 8.
No, you got bumped to 10 and you're going first.
No, I have the 8.
And I'm going last with a 5.
Good.
Knowing how different these gnolls are compared to the previous edition, what's the plot hook for using gnolls now? Because the threat is changed, and so the obvious way to use them must have changed as well. Who's going first?
That's you, Terry.
Oh, I'm going first. Well, now you have to... Are they still in wide open plains and deserts? Does that work for their type of environment now, or does it make sense to have them in hillier areas where they can get elevation with their bows if that's how they hunt? It feels like it's just the environment which changes, so perhaps the plot hook will just change based on what's in their environment. Maybe they're not catching you when you're exhausted in the desert necessarily. Maybe they use the camouflage of a more wooded or a hillier area now, and they would send maybe raid caravans or something. I don't know. Something would need to change. But you're doing it from further away. You're using the bows and you're harassing constantly from a distance.
The fucking thing is, they've got all this great range with the bows.
Yeah.
And dark vision leads you to think that they would be fighting at night. Because if it's not from the lower planes, it's not undead, it's not from the Underdark, and it's not from underground. If it has dark vision, it's a night stalker.
Yeah.
But their dark vision is less than the range of their bows, so it's really going to drag them a whole lot closer. You're not going to get the benefit of the range. So I don't feel like they are night stalkers. They have it just because they're attached to Yeenoghu and demons, right?
Yeah, it doesn't feel practical. It feels flavorful.
Yeah, right. And so, and that's all right. But to your point, Terry, I think that you're dealing with dawn and dusk.
Yeah.
When the predators come out, well, it's still a little bit light out, but they can sneak up, right? So.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if I'm going to use them, I'm probably going to still use them the same way. These guys, their whole thing to me is they're like a locust on the land, right?
Yeah.
They're going to go through and they're just going to obliterate whatever's in their path. They're going to just consume and leave nothing behind, right? And that's still going to be how I would use them. They're still going to be that force of nature, right?
Yeah, but the thing that I'm going to focus on for my answer is the fact that they're hyena-based, which means that they're scavengers, which means that they're not like true scavengers, like picking up what other people have killed, but they're going after, like you said, caravans. They're going after travelers, roadside taverns out in the wilderness. They're going after farmland, villages, right? They're not going to lay siege to a fort unless they know they can take it, right?
Yeah.
They're not going to attack a town with heavily armed guards because that doesn't serve the purpose. What they are really are raiders that are going to get close enough to pepper you with arrows as they move closer and closer and closer, because they will move the same speed as as every one of the player handbook playable species. Like all the humanoids move at 30 feet. So if you're within range, you've got to dash to get away from these guys, as they're just going to slowly arrows, close the gap, arrows, close the gap, arrows, close the gap. And then when they get up to you, then they will start to like feed from there, right? So I think that from now on, if I'm going to be using Gnolls, I'm going to need a large map.
Yeah.
And I normally like reserve that for mass combat or fast.
Or do you try and roll it as theater of the mind for the ranged attack?
Yeah.
For the ranged battle, and then as soon as you go into melee, bring the map out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it won't matter. We know we're going to run right in against them. We're not going to run away.
Well, you are going to fly up because you're a fairy, and Megan will run square head on into them, and then Dan will try to cast Shatter from the maximum distance. You guys all have very, very like signature moves at this point, and the gloves are coming off. Like, I'm so fucking done with this.
Yeah. And sometimes I get offended by what the DMs put in front of me, where I'm like, these fucking jokers?
Yeah.
Watch this. And I'll just dive right in. I'm an instigator as well, though, so I'm never trying to not have a fight. So. Okay. All right. What about, because of their lack of culture, it feels difficult to give them unique descriptions. So I'm going first. So hopefully I don't take the only idea for this. Maybe you guys will prove me wrong. How would I put unique flavors on different types of gnolls or different gnoll packs? I think what little clothing they have is going to be representative of the area that they're in. If they're raiding caravans or farmlands or something, you're going to see cloaks as humans might have them, or ripped humanoid clothing. If they're a little bit further north, where it's a little bit colder, you're going to see the furs of the animals that are there. Maybe you would see even like snake skin in the desert areas. But I would give them their pack unique flavor based on where they are and what they're likely be wearing.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm looking at the art here, and like the Fang of Yinagu, like they've got markings all over their fur. They've got like, you can tell what they are, right?
It's ritualistic, right?
Yeah, and then you look at the demoniac, and like they've got almost like light coming from scars on their flesh, and like they've got one eye glowing and stuff. Like there are things you can do to make these guys. I like the glowing scars. That's kind of,
yeah, that's a neat touch.
That's kind of a neat one, right? And then, of course, like, if they're hyenas, they're spotted. You can use different patterns and stuff to...
Yeah, and also you can give them the white hand of Saruman, right? Like, not literally that, but, like, They can cover themselves in blood as tribal war paint, right? Like, you can lean into that kind of intimidation factor. They remind me of the Reavers from Firefly, right? More than anything else. Like, they're gonna eat you, and they're going to use your parts, yeah. But like, I was trying to come up with a word that wasn't just body parts, but also like the gear that you have. They will repurpose it for their fashion and discard whatever doesn't work for them, right? Yeah. And so they're not going to wear armor because, hey, look at me, I need armor. They're going to grab armor because this is a trophy. I want other people to see that this battalion fell to us, right? And so, because they are cruel. It's such a weird, interesting point that makes with the Gnoll Warrior that they do like treasure and they don't like other people touching their shit.
Yeah.
Which is so fucking weird for Gnolls. And I don't like that, but it's a neat choice, I think, to try to reconcile the fact that they're all going to have their own, like, if I had the time to prep it properly, that guy's got a great axe. He's not good with it, but he swings it because he likes it.
Yeah.
That guy over there has got a bunch of daggers that he pulled off of a rogue that was going to throw in them. Yeah. Right? Like, and they've all got a mismatch of different weapons because these are their trophies, right? And I feel the same thing with armor. The other thing, too, is that they are all, like, different colors now. I would almost flavor them to be, I know it's like green and purple, which don't mix well, but like figure out what color Yinogu is. And let's say that he's just like covered in black fur. Then the darker gray, those ones are the more powerful ones. Right. And the lighter gray are the weaker ones. And the ones that are almost white. You guys notice we didn't get a witherling in this either. You remember the witherling? That was the undead gnolls that would just like the skeletal gnolls that would like stand up and just follow the pack and do their own shit, but like a couple of days behind the pack. So like just because you were done doesn't mean you were done, right? And I think it was the Fangs of Yinogu that could actually, don't quote me on this, I think it was them that could actually raise them. So they would do a ritual over a fallen gnoll, and then that gnoll would come back in a couple of days or something as an undead. So there was a lot of flavor that we didn't get in this book for gnolls, and I don't know. I feel like we've got to really dig deep to find it. Also, what bones is it? Is it a spinal column for the bone whip?
Oh, I'm definitely playing it like that.
Yeah,
I would imagine it has to be. Yeah,
right. I'm just thinking like I would lean into the flavor.
Just a pelvis on the end.
Yeah. That's rad with a bunch of like metal spikes driven through it. That's cool. So I'm going to definitely start flavoring their weapons as I think the thing to focus on. The weapons and the armor they've scavenged.
Okay, I feel like if you sense that these creatures are nearby, you're going to be moving to get out of there pretty quick before they sense you. So what would be the evidence that these creatures are nearby? I think that, if a pack is moving through, you're going to see how they literally, I think these guys would literally tear up the areas that they're rampaging through. It'll just be,
little Tasmanian devils just living destruction.
Going through towns and even just along roads as they're eating along the way and just dropping bones, and it would just be a trail of destruction.
I feel like even if they're walking through your cornfield, they're like uprooting the stalks because fuck you.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
but you should be able to hear them at night.
Oh yeah.
That's what I was thinking. You're gonna hear them like you will the coyotes and hyenas, right? Like that's gonna be my first giveaway. If I've got someone on watch in my party and it's nighttime and they're sitting there, like they're gonna hear this first. The gnolls are not going to be quiet.
Yeah. And while their passive perception,
they have little pee-pee.
I did hear you say unimpressive pee-pee, and I didn't bite on it.
Oh, why not?
God damn it.
I got you
anyway. But you think it perhaps would be higher if they're constantly going to be at a heightened awareness of what's around them.
But I like that it isn't, because it's going to give your players and NPCs a chance to hide. And so when you're in the besieged village and you guys are all level 2 and there's 40 fucking gnolls, right? And you can see a couple of NPCs that are hiding, in the alleyway over there. Stealth really matters now, but it's also possible. It feels good for you to like sneak from one building to the next, and they might not see you, right? Yeah. So just don't be a paladin or a cleric trying to do that, and you should be fine, right?
Yeah, that's right.
What was your question? I forgot the question. Oh, the evidence. You were next, Dave.
Oh, I think we kind of...
Oh, the sound?
Yeah, not just the sound, but like the way that they move through an area. They're going to they're going to turn up the dirt. They're going to, they leave trails. They leave garbage everywhere. There's bones on the side of the road. There's,
Mm-hmm. My question is, do their hyenas follow them and like clean up the scraps that are left behind as scavengers, or are they sent forward as like scouts and chaos to mix shit up before the gnolls can get there?
I would send them forward.
Yeah, we're allies with them, we're using them, right? The hyenas originally, like gnolls are from hyenas, right? And there was something in 5th edition. I want to say it was in Volos, where like the Fang of Yinogu, or one of the special gnolls, actually burst forth from a hyena that had feasted recently, and like that's you make a new one, another gnoll, right? And it wasn't like the hyena changes. It was, no, this thing like alien style bursts out of the hyena and then just stands up and is 8.5 feet tall, right? So I just feel like sending out the hyenas first to create chaos feels good. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That would be the evidence that gnolls are coming.
Causes panic. Go after the dogs and the children and
the mounts.
Yeah, and the mounts.
Yeah, and then
that's going to separate people.
Like that's kind of the evidence is, you're at the tavern and in the middle of the night you can hear the horses freaking out. And when you look out onto the street, there's a pack of like 7 hyenas that are just like circling the stables, and the horses can smell them and can hear them.
Yeah.
And then in the morning they're gone, but you have less than 24 hours, right? The gnolls are coming.
Yeah. Dave?
Yes.
Evidence that they're nearby.
I mean, you're still gonna...
Oh, it's tough. There's nothing left. We've shit on you with this, to be honest.
Yeah,
Come on, Dave.
I believe that. Evidence nearby. I mean, you're gonna notice like maybe the lack of wildlife. They're gonna push all of the...
Oh, everything's gonna flee.
Right, like there's not gonna be a bird in the sky.
There's not gonna be a bear in the woods.
It's gonna stink as well.
Yeah, there's gonna be a smell when you get pretty close. Like, I mean, even like real animals, you get to a pack of something, you're gonna get a smell of it pretty quick, right? I mean, I don't want to be anywhere near where these guys live. If they call it home, it's going to be the grossest thing ever. Mm-hmm. It's just gonna be sticky and wet and moist and just everything you don't want.
I feel like it's implied, because it doesn't say anywhere that they don't sleep. So they have to sleep.
Yeah.
But what would that fucking look like? Do they just drop in the middle of the field? And like curl up en masse, just like bodies touching each other for warmth, like back to back or whatever.
Yeah, like sled dogs.
Exactly, that kind of thing, right? And just like snoring and little yips and stuff until one of them wakes up and their head snaps because a freaking field mouse went by, and now they're all up and moving again. And right, like that kind of shit. So that'd be terrifying as you come over the crest of the hill and there's just a pack of 100 gnolls sleeping there. Right? Could you imagine what the party's going to sit there and be like, fireball? Do we fireball? Should we fireball? And then someone's doing the math going, oh, fuck no. Run. No.
Do we fireball? I like this question. How would nearby civilizations be changed? Because what about if you came after the gnolls to the nearby town and it is just chaos? Like we said, all of the mounts, all of the pets, perhaps children if you want dead children, in your campaign, everything small is going to be decimated.
Yeah.
The adults,
the elderly that can't run.
Elderly, yeah, and it's going to be everybody. So who helps? It's going to be chaos. And there you go, party. That's on you now. You decide what to do.
Well, it's interesting. Can I hijack this one?
Yes, of course.
Do you remember when we first started, like when we finished Curse of Strahd and we started, where you guys fell through portals unconscious and landed there, and there was a bunch of dire wolves in the town, in the main street?
Yeah.
And it was up to the NPCs. I handed you guys little cue cards to play NPCs to either go fight off the dire wolves or drag these new heroes to safety, right? And about a third of the NPCs were killed by the dire wolves, right?
Yeah.
And they really stepped up and showed there was a lot of heroism in this little community. After a gnoll attack, there will be a handful of people that are dealing with the carnage after the fact and trying to bury the dead. But I believe that carnage is going to be more than any survivors would be able to handle.
Yeah.
Right? It's going to be the 2 guys that hid in the root cellar over here, the little girl that hid in the barrel, behind this area, this guy that laid flat on the roof of the church, right? And there's going to be 7 or 8 people, but their gnolls went through this community of 100. At that point, you're not cleaning that up. You're burning a mass grave. But you can't even do that because if the gnolls see the smoke on the horizon, they're going to turn right back, right?
Exactly.
So, you just fucking leave, right? That's the thing is, this has been desecrated ground now. It's time to go.
Yeah.
Can you imagine finding the abandoned town?
Everything would still be working.
Yeah, everything would be fine. Windows would be smashed and doors kicked in, but you would have half rotted skeletons and corpses all over the place, right?
Taps will still work in the tavern. That's all I'm saying.
Everything's free at the apothecary now.
Excuse me, yeah.
I got one final question for you guys, because this always fascinates me with Gnolls. Besides demons, do they have any other allies?
I don't think any other creatures would have use for them other than unless they're more powerful. Unless it's a wizard that wants to use them for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But lesser creatures, why would you ally with Gnolls? It's not even about who they want to be with, it's the fact that everybody else probably would not want to be with them.
Yeah, I was and even if it is like a wizard, it's got to be a cult. It's got to be a Yeenoghu cult, right? Like, evil wizard number 6, and there's his black robes on his tower is not going to rely on Gnolls. They're fucking chaos.
Yeah.
Dave, do you...
No, I don't think they're going to get along with anybody, because even if they, just to pick something like a troll, if they had like trolls or something, as soon as this pack gets hungry, who are they going to eat first?
Yeah, but the troll will regenerate. It's funny because...
But like, sorry, maybe not a troll, but like
yeah, you're right. Like, the ogre is going to just get mowed down.
Or an Etten or something. Like, they're not going to survive very long with these guys.
It's funny because a troll is just about the only thing that I can picture moving with Gnolls. Because...
Trolls and Gnolls,
right? And my reasoning here is that if the Gnolls lash out at them for whatever reason, they will heal. They're both chaotic. They're both evil as fuck. They both stink. They'll, like, stand each other. They can coexist. And if there was ever a reason to besiege a place, like if the Gnolls are attacking a town that was pretty well fortified, but now the city gates are open and the Gnolls are in there creating havoc, the trolls might come in too, right? And like, we will keep a healthy distance from you, you keep a healthy distance from us, but we're going to go over there and eat the baker. So if you don't mind, good job. Thanks, Gnolls. I'm going to go to the orphanage and get up to shit. So it's hard to put them with allies.
Yeah.
They just don't play with others.
No, demons maybe, but like demons and hyenas.
Yeah, and I don't think you need to force the issue.
No.
For Gnolls are fun for exactly what you should use them for, but you're not going to be able to reinvent the wheel on this one.
No. Although they're going to be loads of fun when your party is like level 13 and you toss 60 of these Gnolls at them in like waves of 10 or 12, right? And so they're going through 5 or 6 waves of this shit. Just mowing them down, it's going to feel good because they're going to come in screaming and hooting and trying to get into shit. And you're just going to be like, no, fuck you and fuck you and fuck you. And then by like wave 4, you're like, okay, all right, my spell slots are an issue, but like we can still do this, right?
Yeah.
And so you should be able to throw a whack of these guys at a mid tier 3 party.
Right. All right, team, let's roll initiative one more time.
I critically failed.
14.
What did I get? A 17?
17.
Ooh, I'm special.
Adam, overall, how do you feel about the updated version of the Gnolls compared to the original 5th edition version?
The older ones are better. Just the rampage alone and the fact that there was some cohesion, there was some different lore that really tied them all together. You just had more to work with the other ones. These ones are fine, but the Gnoll Warrior are just fodder, and the Fang of Yeenoghu doesn't seem to have a flavor.
Yeah.
It's just more Gnoll in this monster package, right? So I like the old ones better. I love Gnolls. I will still use Gnolls, and I will use these stat blocks, but I'm going to swap out the Rampage.
Right. I don't like them. And I've been on board with this new edition so far, and I've been very positive about it, but they fucked us here. Yeah, I don't like what they did.
No, this is a misstep.
And I don't want to sound like an elder millennial, because we used to be the young ones. But I don't know what Gen Z lunatic they've hired over there, but they've come in with these new ideas, and I don't like them, damn it. This game is going straight to hell.
The Abyss. It's going to the Abyss.
The Abyss.
Yes.
I'm going to agree. I don't quite like them either. However, I got to say, I think that they've really designed them more to be used as a pack. You can't have warriors without demoniacs anymore, right? Like, you really need to have the whole picture there before you could kind of grab one and use it and grab one and use it.
I had a Gnoll working on a pirate ship, because it had seen the light, and like, you're not doing that with these guys. You're right.
You're right.
They're a mob.
They need to be the whole thing, the whole package together to make them useful, right? This Rampage one a day, that's neat. That's okay. But it's not really any good until you get that Pack Lord using that Incite Rampage ability to get that extra thing. And they're not even using the Rampage. They just have it available to them.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's where you're going to actually find your success with these guys. So are they still fun? Yes, I think you can absolutely have fun with them, but it's going to take a little more work as a DM. They're not plug and play, and they used to be.
Yeah, and because we've also lost orcs as just a generic horde, we don't have that anymore. And goblinoids are fey now, so they're not even just like sitting in the muck and the filth out in the woods. Like, we're really losing our mobs across this edition, but the gnolls are still mobbing, and I like them for that, right?
Yeah, there's certainly some redeeming qualities.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, Adam, would you still use them, or are you likely to use them, this new version, in a campaign?
Not in the immediate future, because we're, level 9 now, so I've moved past them. Like, gnolls are low CR, but I do love them as a existential crisis for low level, and like for small settlements. So I feel like if we would ever see gnolls in my campaign, we would see the aftermath. Right, we're going to this town to gear up, and they go there, and the town is gone.
Yeah,
gnolls happened, right, and that's it. You find a couple of dead gnolls amongst the villagers, but they are at this point set pieces for me. But I will never shy away from using gnolls because I think they fill a niche that most other D&D monsters don't fill.
Yeah, sure. They have their place, but would I use this new version? I think this is the first time I'm going to say this. No, I will just use the old version.
Sure.
Of gnolls. I'm glad that we've still got them. They're a great mob, but the way that the stat blocks encourage us to use them, I prefer the old version.
Yeah, I agree with you, Terry. I mean, I'll use them just because it'll be the monster manual I have in front of me, and I'm not going to open a second book. Right? But, yeah, they're...
Dave, you're the quintessential lazy DM, and I love it.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, they used to do it this way. Oh, that's not a problem for me. They're still going to do it that way. Like, I just kind of pick and choose whatever I want. And like, some of them have 20 hit points, and some of them have 40.
And
like,
some of them use Thaco. So there you go.
It's what I want it to be, right? Like, it's my deal is that my creatures can do whatever they want, but it's got to make sense, and it's only good if everybody's having fun.
Sure.
So if, you got a whole pile of hit points and everybody's just chipping away at it, but you sense that nobody's having fun anymore, scale them back, right? Like, you don't need to get there. So, these guys will certainly take a little bit of fine tuning, but yeah, they're all right.
Cool.
Final thoughts.
My final thought is that I'm not happy with the Rampage. I'm going to sit down and think about it. And I know that on our release schedule later this week on the Patreon is the Homebrew series, where I'm going to sit down with Dave actually, and we're going to talk about how we're going to fix Rampages. So, if you're not following our Patreon, go do that, because it needs to get fixed. It's the only real glaring piece of shit on this, right? Is the Rampages aren't fun.
Yeah.
And you were next, Terry.
For my final thoughts? My final thoughts are the artwork. Don't tell me this doesn't look like the sickest 90s cartoon right here with these colored gnolls, and it would have the best opening titles music.
I was getting Biker Mice from Mars vibes without the cyborg.
This one's name is like Dozer or something.
Right. No, totally. It's between Biker Mice from Mars and then Gargoyles comes on right after.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You totally 100%. Fuck. I'm never not going to be able to see that now, Terry. You've ruined Gnolls.
No, we're going to finish on that.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks for checking in for another episode. I promise we're not going to shit on all of the monsters that we cover, but we will probably shit on some of them.
This is the first shit that I've done, actually.
Oh, you should go to a doctor.
It's a British thing. We don't shit.
You eat too many beans and toast for that to be true.
I eat beans like every weekend. Sometimes just cold out of the tin.
That's all for this Monster Mastery episode of the It's a Mimic podcast. This episode and others can also be found on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and most other podcast apps. Please take a second to engage with a like, follow, subscribe, comment, or review to help us push our engagement. Thanks for listening to the It's a Mimic podcast, where you never know what you're going to get.
Alright, it's the end of a monster episode, so that means it's time to look back at the history of D&D and see what other inspirations might be collecting dust. Today, we're going to head back into 4th edition to look at Gnolls. So my favorite thing about Gnolls is the fact that they are an absolute terror to deal with, and they're so much scarier because they're an existential threat. We kind of lean into that a little bit more because they're superpowered in 4th edition. 4th edition gave us the Fang of Yunogu. I think this was not the original take. I think that comes back from 3.5, if I remember correctly, but it is, it's kind of beefed up a little bit, but we also get a couple of other Gnolls as well, including the Death-Pledged Gnoll and the Gnoll Gorger. So, I'm just going to cover them all really, really quickly here. The Death-Pledged Gnoll is one that vowed to die destroying the enemies of Yunogu. It's done like a dark ritual. There's an oath here and a thirst of blood that makes it more frightening. It's a CR5 creature in 4th edition. The lore behind it is, in return for its vow to its demon lord Yunogu, a death-pledged Gnoll can temporarily shrug off death with potent demonic powers. So, on top of the fact that it's got a whole bunch of like bones strapped to its forearm that stick out like Wolverine claws, they also gain 5 hit points when it drops to 0 HP the first time. So it comes back with 5, and then it immediately gets to attack. And it has like super resistances, but at the end of its next turn, it drops to 0 hit points and it is dead. So it gets to kind of pop back up again. You kill it, on its turn, it stands back up, gets one big hit in, and then dies. That's a really cool mechanic that I wish we saw other things have. The Fang of Yunogu is very similar to what we've seen before. It's a CR7 though, so it gets like a hell of a bump in a lot of its stats here, but my favorite thing about it is it has a thing that lets it do a relentless push. And the way that I would translate this into 5th edition is that when it gets into melee combat, this specific Gnoll pushes the creature that it is facing off against back 5 feet, but it also moves with them. So the two of them just start moving across the battlefield. This also does not incur opportunity attacks. So, of course, they all get pack tactics as well in all of this. So that can be scary when you have like 3 or 4 of them, like bum rush you and pushing you back, 15 or 20 feet on the battlefield. Just the strength of them pushing you towards cliffs or ledges or up against a wall, right? That's going to feel really, really scary. Also, they had this really cool like cudgel. It was like a great club that was studded with teeth and crusted with blood, and I miss that. The artwork for it's really spiky and nasty. The last one is the Gnoll Gorger, and it actually works with the Fang of Yunogu. I'll kind of explain that in a second here. The Gnoll Gorger devours the flesh of sentience, but Gorgers, like all Gnolls do, but Gorgers gain strength in battle by feasting on their own kind. So they recklessly charge into combat, laying into their enemies with a bite attack. It has an extra little bit though, where if it can't get to you, it will bite someone beside it, and it will gain 10 hit points, and the other Gnoll that it bites will only lose 5. So it's leeching and getting more and more powerful as they go. This is a CR7 creature as well in 4th edition. So the cool thing about this is, if any Gnoll dies from this, because the Gorger doesn't give a shit, it's just sitting there gnashing its teeth and eating anyone within range. So if it kills a Gnoll like that, part of the Fang of Yunogu lore, and kind of the reason why it's called the Fang of Yunogu, besides just being a flavorful thing, is these Gnolls that are fodder are rewarded for their sacrifice by the Fang of Yunogu, because a Gnoll slain by a Gorger has its teeth added to the cudgel of bloody teeth, allowing it to taste the blood of its enemies even in death. That's metal as fuck, and we should really, really be supporting the idea of metal, gnarly, evil Gnolls like this. It also recommends that a level 7 encounter is 1 Fang of Yunogu, 3 Gnoll Gorgers, and 1 Beholder Gouth. I mean, shit was built differently in 4th edition, like fuck. But you can imagine with these Gorgers and the Fangs of Yunogu and stuff, and we haven't even gotten to like Flins or anything like that from 5th edition, you can still have Gnolls be a relevant mob threat up into tier 3, and you don't get that from a lot of the other mobs. Anyway, I've dug up these details for you, so now I gotta ask, How are you going to make your Gnolls more memorable for your players? If you'd like to support us, we have a store with some merch and a donate button on our website, itsamimic.com. You can also head to itsamimic.com to find a comprehensive episode guide and more information about the show. We do have a Patreon, which not only offers access to our exclusive Discord server, but also hosts over 100 episodes, including a variety of bonus episodes covering topics like 5th edition book reviews and the campaign builder, spells and gods, fae, homebrew inspiration, and even the Blood War. If you'd like to submit any mailbag questions, please reach out to us through any of the social media links in the show notes of this episode, or send us an email at info@itsamimic.com. This has been an episode of It's a Mimic, where you never know what you're going to get.